You're listening to the Rebel Scum podcast.
You are always scum. Rebel Scum.
From odds making to list rankings, we've got you covered. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are your hosts, Brock and
It's
James.
2021, and this year is so much better than last year in every way. How you doing, Brock?
Not too bad, James. How are you?
I'm good. You know what? Let's restart the show and just thank everybody for joining us. Who is joining us? Whether you're joining us on the Apple Podcasts, on the Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, hi. How you doing? Brock, did you have an excellent... This is our first show of 2021. It's been a week. We didn't do anything last week. We did our ranking Star Wars show, which everyone agreed with. Everybody said, wow, this is the most correct rankings of Star Wars you could have. Because it is. You can't argue with facts. But did you have a great New Year's, Brock?
You back?
Hold on. Off to a great start. I'm gonna plug. Hold on. I don't want to tether because I'm out of data, but gonna have to do what we're gonna have to do, bro. Okay, so I'm gonna say. I just said, did you have a great New Year's? And then you'll take it, okay?
Yeah.
And give me a second. Okay. And go for it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Just stayed inside like we're supposed to.
I was in Times Square. It was me and Ryan Seacrest.
You left the country?
Yes. Yeah. I couldn't drive, so I took a plane. I flew into LaGuardia. And it was great. But yeah, you stayed inside. And you saw some friends, I imagine, or one friend at least. We're off to a rip-roaring start with the internet this year. This is a great omen. So Christmas has obviously come and gone, but did you get anything Star Wars related for Christmas at all?
No, I'm a grown man. I don't ask for things for Christmas anyways.
No, but that's when you get Star Wars things, is when you don't ask for Star Wars things. Everyone's like, well, Brock likes Star Wars, so Brock, I got you this Star Wars. And it's like, you're like, oh, I have that.
You don't know my family that well. I don't talk about Star Wars nearly as much as you do with your family.
I don't talk about it that much. I'm trying to find the one thing that I got that's Star Wars. I don't know if I brought it to this room. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so.
Anyway, I'm trying to find... I got one thing that was Star Wars. I brought it down here. I can't find it right now. It's a toothbrush. And it's for kids. It was a joke gift for my sister and brother-in-law. It's a Kylo Ren toothbrush, and you hit it, and it plays noise for an entire minute. Cool. Because that's how long you're supposed to brush your teeth for, is a minute.
What? This is news to me.
Yeah. But that's what... Because I was like... Because I hit the button on Christmas morning. We Skyped them. They're in Vancouver, so we Skyped them. Or we didn't Skype them. We FaceTime them. I don't know what the word would be. It's, whatever the equivalent of Skype is that we use. So we did it, and I hit the button, and it would not shut up. This thing just kept going. And then my sister said when they picked it up in the store, they hit it, and they actually put it down and grabbed another one because they were so embarrassed. Because it lasts for a minute, and it's a solid minute of audio. So if you can't get your kids to brush your teeth for a minute, you get them a Kylo Ren toothbrush. I actually have two Kylo Ren toothbrushes now. It's kind of getting embarrassing, but whatever. So 2021's here, and it's a stinker, but here we are.
Yeah, what you gonna do? At least it's not snowy yet. There hasn't been a lot of crazy weather, so.
Yeah,
in Ontario.
Yeah, actually, you were lucky. You had a white. I didn't have a white Christmas. You had a white Christmas. I got snow on Boxing Day. That's the 26th for those who don't know. And then January 2nd, it just dumped on us, and we still have snow from that snowfall, which is nice because there's some trails I like walking on, and I don't like walking on them when the ticks are present. So right now, it's full of snow and it's minus 1,000, so there's no ticks, and I can go walking wherever I want. So I do appreciate that. All right, let's get on to Star Wars, Brock.
Yeah. What's in the news today?
Well, you do the news, but anyway, so let's talk about Kevin Feige hired a writer for his stuff. So they did like the big Disney investor call, and Taika Waititi is doing it, and here's our first director of the next movie, and it's Patty Jenkins. And all of a sudden they're like, by the way, Kevin Feige has hired a writer. It is the writer of, I believe, Doctor Strange, and as well as the showrunner for the Loki series, which was apparently greenlit for a season 2. Loki's coming out in May, and Kevin Feige must really like, I don't know this individual's name, you might, but I do not remember it off the top of my head, and I'm not prepared because I don't get prepared. But he must see something in him, so he has a writer hired, which means that project is more and more likely to happen. It kind of like was like nothing for a while. Like it was just like off the radar. No one really thought of it. And now it's back on the radar. So what were your thoughts on that news?
Cool. Like, I don't know. I like Doctor Strange, and I'm very excited for Loki. Like that first trailer looks awesome.
I have not seen that trailer.
Would be fun. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm hesitant to believe anything too, since like I don't really follow up on where exactly Marvel is with their new projects outside of Disney Plus. Like, WandaVision comes out this week,
Friday,
and yeah, like we know there's stuff coming very shortly. Like Winter Soldier follows in March, so like I follow that, but like I don't know, like I'm assuming some Marvel movies have been delayed in some way because of COVID. So it's sort of like, does Kevin Feige working on Marvel stuff? I know he works on the grand scale of it, and then also doing the Star Wars. Is it going to be possible, or is it going to be delayed? It's news though, like Game of Thrones guys get thrown in, and then the next thing we know is they're out again. So
well, do we know, and I mean just you and I, no one else, but does anyone know what Kevin Feige's role in this Star Wars movie is? Is he producing it? Is he direct? Like, is he going to be like, you know what, I'm directing? I would imagine he's producing, but yeah. Okay. For me, I just think it's kind of cool that they have a writer, which means that it's a little bit more because, when they hired the Game of Thrones guys and, the Rian Johnson trilogy and all the numerous ones that haven't happened, there was nothing concrete going on there. And I know like a writer, even episode 7 had Michael Arndt, and then they got rid of him. But even when they said, we're going to do episode 7, it didn't seem real until they said, oh, and we have a script by Michael Arndt. And even though they didn't use that script, or they used part of the script, or whatever the hell they did, even though they didn't use it, they had it there. And so it was actually like, it was this real thing that was on paper and once it's on paper, you can go and start shooting it. So that kind of excites me. But again, like you said, I hold reservations for everything that we've heard, because I'm not 100% convinced on anything yet. And that's because the other thing I want to talk to you about is this Patty Jenkins movie, Rogue Squadron, which has a title. Apparently has a writer. She doesn't want the writer to. She doesn't want to spoil who the writer is yet, because she wants that individual to have their own heyday. But you saw Wonder Woman 1984 last year, and I watched it last week, which was not last year, but it was last week, and I enjoyed it. I don't know. I like, okay, here's the thing. I enjoyed it on the same level as pretty much every other superhero I've enjoyed over the last few years. I mean, look, on average, some are clearly better than others, and this one for me was just like, it was like fine. Which is how I felt about the first Wonder Woman, to be completely honest with you. I was like, it's fine. But you liked it a little bit less than I did.
Well, like going back to Kevin Feige, it's like, it's kind of, you don't really need to get it, or need. I don't feel excited about this news in any way, because he wasn't remotely announced. Or when was this announced? It wasn't announced during the. No,
this was like it
wasn't part of the stockholder meeting.
No.
So like, you know, outside of, you know, the Book of Boba Fett, they kind of showed their hand in that meeting. So it's like, I get the sense that Feige's not, or like, well, I mean, outside of Rogue One and mention of Taika Waititi, like there wasn't a lot of movie talk to begin with. So that's fine. Like I'm paying for Disney Plus, so please give me more Disney Plus content. So yeah, like it's just sort of, I don't know. I'm hesitant to believe or not believe, just get excited. Like it's Kevin Feige's he's a big dude. Because like I would assume he has some control of what's happening for the Marvel content for Disney Plus, right? Or is that someone else completely different?
No, he's the big one.
So it's just like, why does he? I mean, I get it. He works for the same company, so it's like, yeah,
and
why not?
He wants to do a Star Wars story.
Yeah, produce whatever you want to do. I'm sure like he's just like, I'm gonna work for the next decade of my life
because he's young too. Isn't he like?
Yeah, he's super young, like? So it's like, so I mean, we'll see. I don't know what to say. I also have but then like, yeah, Patty Jenkins. It's like, it's not the movie. It doesn't seem as divisive as like any of the Star Wars movies that we've had recently.
No,
but like,
not even close.
It's like it's either you like
it or hate it. Not love it. But like...
I don't even want to say that because I don't know a lot of people that really got excited about it. You know what I mean? Like you're probably the most excited person I've seen.
I'm not really excited. I think I was just like, because the first one is so like middle of the road for me that this one had nowhere to go. Like it was like honestly, for me it was like the exact. I felt the same watching it. I don't know. It's Wonder Woman. Like it is Wonder Woman.
It was like, what do you do with Wonder Woman in a movie? Because it was like you're like building on this Batman and Superman narrative, or even just the Batman versus Superman. So you're like, well, we have this character now. We have to explain who she is, even though every single person in at least North America knows who Wonder Woman is. Like, you have to explain Black Widow. You don't have to explain Wonder Woman. But that first movie, I liked it because I think there was zero expectations, and I think more people got hyped about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I agree.
And it wasn't like campy like the show was. I'm not bringing down the 70s Wonder Woman. Great show for what it is. And there's cool, like part of what I liked about Wonder Woman was the references to that show. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. That's cool. But then in this one, I don't know. I no one will agree with me, but I feel like one of the reasons that people aren't really happy with it is because they were waiting so long for it. Because it was supposed to be the blockbuster this summer with like right along Tenet, and we waited, and now like in Canada, you either paid for it or you had to like jump through hoops to get a copy of Wonder Woman. So it's like at the end of the day, you're like, ugh.
I would say if this movie came out in June like it was supposed to. And people went to go see it in the theater, the reaction would be different. But saying that, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, which I can't stand Rotten Tomatoes for numerous reasons. First of all, if a movie gets 61%, that means 6.1 out of 10 people. That means a lot of people like it. But anyway, like, and who cares? I can't stand people. Well, the critics do not. Who cares? I respect your opinion. I'll ask Andrew's, but. And look, no offense to Andrew, but he likes Avatar. So, like, here's his up there. But, like, I will ask you guys what you think. I'll ask but I'm not going to go to Rotten Tomatoes and be like, well, Rotten Tomatoes. Or even IMDb with their bullcrap ratings. Like, well, IMDb only give it 4.5. It's a Hallmark movie. Of course it did. But on Rotten Tomatoes, that all being said, I think it's got like a 50% or something like that now from the critics, which is weird that it keeps whatever. Yeah. But the audience score, the last one I saw it was like a 74% on the audience score. And so I think why you're not seeing that divide is because I don't think people, like I said, they're not loving it, but I think they're like, it was Wonder Woman. I think that, like, ultimately, they're like, yeah. And especially if you watch it on HBO Max and you're already paying for it, you're like, whatever, it was fine.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a movie.
It goes off the rails in a lot of ways. Like, at one point I was just like, it needs to reel it in right now.
Yeah,
just like reel it in.
it's I think I sent you a review by two of my
Yes,
favorite movie
they're
reviewers.
fantastic. They were dead
Alshir
on.
and Jason Mantzoukas from How Did This Get Made, and they are just literally like putting it on blast. But the end, they're both like, "We love that movie. You should totally see this movie."
Because
But
like the thing is, I think as time heals all wounds, it is kind of like a fun movie, and I want to say harmless,
Yeah.
but there are people that will argue with me because of a certain aspect of the film that may not be harmless, but it's pretty harmless. You said there are decisions were made that you're like,
Yeah.
weird. And I was actually on Den and Nerds a few years ago, and I said, I'm worried about Wonder Woman 2 because of the absence of Zack Snyder. I think everybody kicked me down, and I've mentioned this to you before too, and I'm not saying like he's a godsend, but what I'm saying is if you look at things, and I related this to you with baking and stuff, like sometimes you just need that little aspect to kind of like even you out. And it's like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 versus Guardians of the 2. What did one have that the other one had? It had that second screenwriter credit. It had these. It's every once in a while you just, even if it's like very, very, very minimal, sometimes you have it. And I don't know if that's, and honestly, after seeing this one, I don't know if that's what was missing from this one, but it felt like there might have been someone's voice not in the room saying one thing. And I was surprised I ended up liking it because I could not stand the first two scenes at all. Like I hated those scenes so much.
What floors me is I don't really have an opinion on Patty Jenkins. I actually confused her for
yes, you did.
Kathleen Bigelow.
Yeah.
Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
Um,
who directed John Boyega in Detroit? Great movie.
Yeah, there you go. Great. But like, it floors me that Jeff Johns is it's
Patty
Jenkins and Jeff Johns, and I'm like, Jeff Johns has made like some of the craziest storylines in DC in the last decade. He's now in charge of DC because of his choice. He brought Green Lantern back into the forefront. I want to say he did Flashpoint, but I'm not sure. But he did do the Blackest Night event series, and then he just brought Green Lantern was just sort of like blah, and then all of a sudden they're like, boom, Jeff Johns fixed it, and there's a bunch of other things. So it's just sort of like, it blows my mind because it's like, if it was just Patty Jenkins, I'm like, okay, but like they had someone that knows comics on it. It's just sort of like, I'm all for trying something new, but honestly, it feels like they're like, okay, I'm gonna write characters on these papers, plot lines on this paper, climax things on this paper, and we're gonna take them in our hands and throw them in the air, and like Mad Libs put them together, just like.
The problem with Pedro Pascal's character is there's only one way for it to end. And like because the minute he becomes the bad guy, like the superpower bad guy, you're like, well, it can only end one way. Like, you know where it's going. And then when it got there, I'm like, I think it even like flubbed that. I'm like, how did you? I'm like, you had anyway, whatever. It's what I'm saying though is the 74% fan reaction, and also the fact that they immediately greenlit a third one. It did wonderful money at the box office, which is great news for movie theaters, I think. Like, I mean, actually, Disney now is considering doing Scarlett Johansson. What's her character? Black Widow. They're considering doing Black Widow in the theater and make you pay $30 on Disney Plus for it at the same time.
Really?
Because I think Wonder Woman, I don't know what the numbers are for HBO Max, but I think Wonder Woman was a huge success for that. Yeah. And then it was, and in this, where we are now in society, I think it was a big success in the movie theater as well, even though it dropped 67% the next. Well, no, because everyone can't go in. But so I think that though is really a huge saving grace for Patty Jenkins on that.
Isn't it wild to hear that a blockbuster like superhero, sci-fi, whatever movie doesn't do well at Christmas time? It'll be like the only time one of those massive movies doesn't do hugely well, right?
Yeah.
You know what? They will inevitably play it in theaters when everything goes back to normal. Whenever that happens, I'll go see it. I even said after watching, like, I'll watch this again.
I I think they had
It's
to
just-
release it when the way they did because, like you said, people were waiting so long already. If you waited another year, first of all, you're waiting another year. Now you're going up against all 900 Marvel movies that are being released. Like it's like just at some point you got to do it, and
there were many times in that movie where I was like, wow, like it grabbed me, and it's honestly the plot just made weird choices. The characters are fine.
It's a weird plot without weird choice. Like it's like it's a weird plot that just like. Yeah, no.
Like, everyone was trying their best in that movie.
I think they wanted to do something. Honest, I really think everybody was like, "Well, what if we just did the most?" Honestly, this whole thing began with how do we bring Chris Pine back? That's how they started the writing process. With how do you bring Chris Pine back? And they were like, "Oh, here's a way." I was like, "What? Okay." And then maybe that other actor that Chris Pine isn't. Is maybe he's like, is that like Gal Gadot's husband? I don't know. Maybe that.
I actually have seen a picture of her husband.
I'm just joking. I know it's not, but like maybe there's a reason why. No, I think the reason why I sounded like I was so high on it is because I had no expectations for the first one. Like it's Wonder Woman, and it was better than Aquaman. It was still too long though. I watched it over 2 nights, so I don't actually know
what's
how
wild. Last night, I watched back-to-back Justice League Dark and Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. And, I was not ready. I knew both these movies are really, really good. Justice League Dark is just a typical DC animation one, which is cool because those movies have really, like, they set tones, like, 10 years ago because they were doing well just being your typical cartoon, and now they make it like maybe it's a little dark, the storyline, and they're definitely cursing and there's definitely sexuality. But I'm still blown away by what happens in Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, because you're just like, all this stuff is happening and people are dying and they're like, they're gonna reset at some point. Never happened. And that's not a spoiler. There's so much in that movie that you're just like, wow. And like it's supposed to be the conclusion of, I believe it's a decade's worth of those movies, because they don't really, the story that there isn't like an intertwining story per se. Like I haven't watched all of them and I really want to now, but it's apparently like, but like this, it just ends and you're like, what? So like DC has the capacity to make decent movies that are engaging, but then also like surprise you. Like look at the success of Harley Quinn, Harley Quinn TV show. Just like, what? And it just seems like DC's like, well, if we do dark and sort of, adult themes and stuff and these things, we'll do well. But when you try to keep to that like golden age of comics, it's just like, I don't know. But I don't think Patty Jenkins is going anywhere, but who knows? This is a whole different company. Like DC will at least give her one more movie, but people have gotten fired for worse things. But like Wonder Woman in '84 is a success, so
yeah, that's the thing. I think honestly, the money that it made, but you combine it with that positive, I think that positive score, because as much as people could complain about it, that positive score I think is very telling. Because I think Game of Thrones was the opposite. People hated that last season with a passion, which I only saw part of an episode of the last season. And anyway, but who knows what happened with them, because they also signed a Netflix deal, and Netflix and Disney Plus, you can't have them. Although Jon Favreau could do a chef show on Netflix, but not work on Disney Plus. But no one's going to deal with that. So whatever, you play ball, and they'll let you start a second team if you want.
Who knows?
I'll say this, Brock. Wonder Woman 1984, full title. The action scenes were handled beautifully.
Yeah.
She did a phenomenal job with the actions. The action was although the use of slow-mo, I'm not huge on it. And Aaron, one of the, like the second or third time, she's like, Aaron turned to me and said, I hate that. The slow-mo needs to stop. But the rest of the action I thought she handled very well.
Yeah, like it's even though we saw it in the trailer, the part where like she has the lasso and she's lassoing lightning bolts, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, it's
That was in
still
the
cool.
trailer? I don't think I saw the trailer. I don't remember.
I think it might have been the second one. It wasn't
Oh,
the very, very first one.
I think I only saw one trailer, and it was like in
Mm,
this time last year.
yeah. So it's just like maybe they should have held off on a little bit of those more of those things. I don't know. It,
You can't win, and DC is already a brand that people are gunning for anyway. So it's not like whatever. If
you
this
know
was
what?
a Marvel movie, everybody would be like, "Oh my god, it was so brave."
Thinking about it now, if Patty Jenkins' goal was to make an homage to the Linda Carter,
Yeah.
no, that Linda Carter Wonder Woman, then okay, I get this movie now, because then you're like, I mean, it takes place in the 80s, so it has that look already, even though I think that show was the 70s. But like the characters feel like TV characters. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
they did.
even like the look of like Maxwell Lord, it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah. So it's like if you just treat it like I really love that show, and this is me making a 2-hour episode. Okay.
Yeah, that's how you know what? I will say this because one of my favorite superhero music cue in a long time was Amazing Spider-Man 2, the opening when he's coming down from the sky, and you got that. Is it Hans Zimmer doing that too?
I don't know.
I think it was. It's always Hans Zimmer, and
Amazing
he's coming
Spider-Man
down.
or Spider-Man?
He did Amazing Spider. He did the Amazing Spider-Man, and then he did Super. I think he did. But that's who did the music for this one. And the other music cue that really blew my mind was, and I hated this scene, but that opening scene right before the mall, that music that plays when she's like swinging down the street or whatever at the beginning after she's a little kid, that music, I was like, this is a superhero theme, which we don't get. And we can argue whatever, but, and I actually love the music in Man of Steel, but it's not superhero theme.
Yeah.
And the Marvel movies, the Avengers kind of has one, but they've been so bland with their music. This one was like, even like Aquaman, like they're all bland. Their music is like, I don't think of it. And then this, I was like, oh, I really like this music.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why I
important.
ended up liking the movie, was because I was like, oh, that one music cue at the beginning just completely sold me. Anyway, I watched Soul, and there's one bit of music in Soul that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, this is why I get bummed. I want to support film by like you and I would both pay money to watch a Star Wars anything at this point, even though we pay for Disney Plus. So it's it's hard to critique, but like if you give us 2 Pixar films that are excellent for free. Now I haven't watched Mulan yet, but I heard it's not great.
Well, Onward was also in the theater for like a week or two, so.
But you know what I mean. I watched. I didn't go.
I haven't seen Onward.
I watched it. But you know what I mean, right? Like it's everyone got it. Like it wasn't like Onward and then like 6 months later. It was like a month later, or like it's early in quarantine. They were both those movies were good. But then it's like you got Mulan you have to pay for, and Wonder Woman. I know in America they didn't have to pay for it. But for Canadians, that was the case. That's a bummer. Like, I mean, I know some people probably don't like Soul and maybe didn't even watch Onward, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I do kind of want to see Black Widow. It's not on the top of my list. I love David Harbour, so like I'll watch it for him. But do I want to pay money for it? I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I probably wouldn't go see that in the theater unless someone invited me, and that probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying $30 to rent Black Widow, and I'm not gonna go out of my way to find a copy of it. I'm not interested in that character. Period. Even from the Avengers movies, so I don't care. Plus, spoiler alert: she's dead, so I don't care. And I don't care about her backstory. I love David Harbour. I don't care about her backstory though. Like her and Hawkeye did stuff. Cool. Like I don't need more. There was a whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. I'm good. I'm over that. So like that's where I am. But I know I'm probably in the minority, and I'm fine with being in the minority. And people will pay $30, $35, whatever it is, to watch that movie on Disney Plus.
But you raise a good point, because like, if there was no COVID, I probably would have just waited for Disney Plus for Black Widow. You know what I mean? Like,
and so actually that this actually has to do with Rogue Squadron. I'm going to tie this into Rogue Squadron because I've said this a few times, and now with WandaVision coming out, and people are like, WandaVision's amazing, WandaVision's amazing. And then you have WandaVision's Falcons and Eagles and whatever, and then you have Loki, and then the movie is going to be like, we'll go see Black Widow. Like, how is Black Widow more important, like a better story than Loki? Like, what is making me want to go see that movie in the theater when I can watch these ones on Disney Plus and obviously wait for Black Widow? But what is the separation of them? And so Rogue Squadron, we've asked this question a few times now, but because Black Widow, flat out, I could not tell you what is separating Black Widow from those 3 TV shows based on what I've seen from all 3 of them. I can't. It can't justify it right now to me. What makes that one so special that it has to be in the theater?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Winter Soldier and Falcon is gonna overlap with it somehow, but I don't think it's Scarlett Johansson in it. It's the
Yeah, there's probably like,
oh god, no, what's her his like the actress
Agent
her last name is
13.
Pooh. No,
Is that a character?
like
Did I get it right?
no. In Black Widow, she has a sister who's played by the girl from Midsommar. Her last name's Pooh. She's dating Zach Braff. Oh god.
Is that the one that's too young for Zach Braff and everybody made a big deal about it because everyone knows
so, yeah.
because
She's
everybody
in
knows
Little-
what's right for everybody else in this day and age? That's right.
Hold on. I mean, I like her as an actor, so but like that's the thing. Like Black Widow was supposed to come out this summer, right?
Last May, yeah.
Florence Pugh, that's it. That she's gonna be in it, and I think we're all assuming she's going to take on the mantle of Black Widow. I don't remember what her character's name. I don't know if
Black Widow is a mantle that people take over?
in this movie there might be. I know there were other people that were Black Widow, but it's not like Green Lantern or anything. I'm just saying, like,
she's an assassin.
They've killed the character off, so like they don't want to still have a Black Widow character, so they don't want to keep playing Scarlett Johansson, I assume.
But this is a prequel. Anyway, whatever. Who cares? But that's my thing with Rogue Squadron that I've had a hard time with is what is going to justify it? Because I am not I like the Marvel movies enough. I don't love them. They're whatever. But like, but for me though, I'm going to watch WandaVision. I'm not like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to watch that. I'll probably watch the Falcon show.
Yeah.
It's the Falcon shows with puppets. That's what I'm the Falcon. And then the Loki, I don't know if I'm going to watch that. But those ones I'm definitely going to watch. But the Widow, whatever it is, like, so in terms of Star Wars, if you're not a diehard Star Wars fan and you're getting all of these freaking shows, why are you going to watch one about pilots in the theater?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still stand with, like, until we get a trailer, I don't believe anything's coming out.
You got a trailer? Patty Jenkins walking in a jumpsuit. That's the movie.
Like, a lot of people can do stuff, so if Patty Jenkins jumps off, doesn't mean they won't make a Rogue Squadron movie.
I think she's in. I actually 100% think it's happening. And I think she's doing Rogue Squadron and then Wonder Woman 3. And I think they fast-tracked Wonder Woman 3 to get her to sign on because just in case Rogue Squadron blows up. That's what I think. I think they want her on board for it. But anyway, I'm just, it's a weird time. We've never had TV like this where it's like the streaming world. I was talking to our friend Dwayne the other day. I was like, I've always liked movies more than TV because TV's always been so cheap, cheesy, and campy and whatnot. And still, a lot of times it still is. But the story, everything has escalated so high, and now movies are just like, you're like, well, why isn't the movie as good as that? And is it the storytelling? Like, is it like the show like The Mandalorian where they're like, well, we're going to tell the story over 8 episodes, which even though they're half-hour episodes, that's still 8 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is. So like, I don't know. It's a weird time. I'm curious to see how it all is going to play out. And it'll be unfortunate if we don't get to go see some of these movies in the theater because I think event films are... I think they're an important part of our culture. Just like when we went to go see Star Wars last year, it was just the movie almost didn't matter. It's the experience of going there with like a group of friends and watching something and then leaving going like, oh yeah, remember when he threw the lightsaber and got stabbed? And it was a lot of fun. There's something to be said for that, and I'm optimistic. It's like it's all gonna come back. It's just we have to ride out the storm, right? So I think it was Tom Hanks said movie theaters right now are very dependent on Marvel films, and I 100% agree with that. I'm not sure if Black Widow's the one, but I think what he's saying though is those big like end game movies where they make $1 billion. Those are the ones that are going to slowly bring that back. Anyway, Never Tell Me the Odds.
Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to you, me, and everyone listening by Patreon.com, the wonderful patrons that go on their computers, ticket, and they go Patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast, and they support us because for some reason they love to listen to us babble on about Star Wars. And these wonderful people are the following folks: Heidi Feder, executive producer; Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Mary Kristen Athon, Jeff Wilson, Phil Stanifor, Sooner Thrawn, Scott D, Josh Price, Matt W,
Rez, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, D. Raven Spencer, Cosmic Girl 0202, Gleek Play 1, Automated Joy, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Aaron Quinto, Jared Cocaine, Dena Nerds, and the Girls with Sabers.
I'm like, wait a second.
Yep. They still have their sabers, and they will cut you down. So you don't even know what these odds are.
I don't really watch their videos, but they pop up in my YouTube feed. And, you know, I love how YouTube, when you scroll by, you can just start watching it because a lot of videos have subtitles. And I'm just reading the first little bit, and it's like the part's like, the Bendemptionists, and then the blue butterfly with baby Grogu. And I'm like, nope.
Brock is out. They have some fascinating stuff over there.
I like where they go with it, but it's just sort of like, no, I don't want to go down this wormhole. But that being said, everybody listening, go check out those ladies because they're making it happen.
They make it happen. They put a lot of thought and hard work in their videos.
Support,
and they're entertaining
we support
videos
that
as well.
Yeah,
they are great friends to have.
Mm-hmm. That we've never met in real life.
No.
Did they even like?
No.
They just do audio, right?
They'll just do audio. They have reasons, and I completely support them
for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, no,
I was just like, now that I think of it, I was like, we've never seen them. We've never seen them and Wonder Woman and Princess Leia in the same place at the same time, just throwing it out there.
And I know that one of those two Girls with Sabers has buns, like hair buns. Yeah, like, so I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right.
I wonder if they'll actually hear this and either be mad or happy that we've said what we've said.
Oh, they already don't like you.
Perfect.
The only people they like are Andrew Fantasia. No, they are wonderful though. They are great, great friends and supporters, and it's good to have them up. I mean that. Kevin Feige, here, Never Tell Me the Odds. The odds of Kevin Feige's Star Wars will hit theaters before Taika Waititi's, but after Patty Jenkins. What are the odds that we'll get Kevin Feige's movie between the Jenkins-Waititi sandwich?
30%. It seems odd to like put in someone that you haven't really mentioned. You know what I mean? Like, I would feel that Patty Jenkins and Taika Waititi are at the same level of where they are in making these movies, and I would assume they would come out first if they announced it, but we also know stuff happens and that could change.
Well, Taika Waititi is currently shooting, or is about to start shooting what's it called? It's I ruined it all.
Love and Thunder.
Yeah, and a bunch of people have made their way to, I think they're in Australia to shoot, so they're quarantining or something, and they're going to start shooting. Which, to me, I told you, I'm like, holy crap. Just felt like I was like, oh, he still has to write that movie. No. It's written, it's been greenlit, and now they're out shooting. So he's going to finish that. Patty Jenkins now, I'm guessing she's working on Star Wars. So I think you're right. I think it's going to be Patty Jenkins and Taika Waititi, and then but the only thing against that is if the Kevin Feige one is being scripted now, how far along is Taika Waititi and his co-writer on his movie scripting that one? if they even started because of Thor. So I'm going to go 45%. I'm going to go a little bit higher, a little bit less than 50 because I still think it's going in that order. But again, Taika Waititi, Thor gets delayed a week, 2 weeks. I mean, that also kind of bums out Kevin Feige. But anyway, so I'm going to go 45%. The next one, episode 10 is happening. That's an odd. What are the odds that episode 10 will happen? It's currently in development. Episode 10. It doesn't have to be the further adventures of Luke Skywalker, the further adventures of Rey, but a movie that is coming out will have the big X, episode X, in front of it. And maybe it'll say, the Resistance has won. However, Grand Admiral Tron is on the loose or something.
I only want that to happen if the trailer will end with like the title card with X, and then like DMX comes out, X gonna give it to you. I'll be like, whoa!
How cool it would be though if you went to the movie to watch Star Wars Age of the Resistance, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the theater and you're like, yeah, we're gonna go see Age of the Resistance. It's gonna be such a good movie, Star Wars. And you're like, you see the trailer and the trailer's like, yeah, it's really awesome. And you walk in and Star Wars comes on the screen, and then the next two is episode 10, and you're like, what?
I always like the stuff like that hopefully ever happening, which I can't think of examples of when it has, but I'm pretty certain they said they want to get rid of the numbering, but the next Star Wars movie, they're like, is this the 10th one in the like everyone's going to ask that question.
Well, people
Even
saw
though
Rogue
we've
One
had
and they're like,
Rogue
well,
One
where?
and Solo.
Remember after Rogue One, people were like, where was Rey?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna go like 0% because like, come on.
I think eventually it's gonna happen, but I'm going to 11% because I don't think it's in the next 5 years. I think it's after that. Final odd of the day.
All right.
Never tell me the odds that an unknown Disney Plus show will be announced by June 2021. Will we learn about another Disney Plus Star Wars show by June 20? One that maybe, I don't know, I can't think of one that might have been hinted at right now, but one that maybe somebody rumored like whatever, wasn't in the investors call, but now is coming out, or just something completely separate.
I think 100%. I mean, at the very least, it could be another animated show, right? Because they could be working on that right now. Like, really, like animation's probably your best. Like, they did all of Soul during, like, I think most of it during quarantine. So it's like, it's very, very doable. So, yeah, but like, no, I think maybe they're holding their cards to see what happens with. I mean, nothing Star Wars is coming out anytime soon, but like. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. There's no, I mean, Bad Batch is probably the next thing we'll see. No, I think if it all goes well, they'll have something in June.
I would love an announcement by June 2021 of a new show. That being said, I'd rather just see the stuff that they've announced.
Yeah,
I'm kind of, and I've said this for how many years now? We both have. Over the announcements, just give it to us. Like, The Mandalorian didn't really feel like they're doing The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
it felt like, oh my God, they're doing The Mandalorian. Here's a picture of them on set making The Mandalorian. Like, I don't remember it being like, a slow burn. So I'm going to go 41% on this one. I guess it would be cool. But again, I would rather see a picture of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, more stuff for Cassian Andor, and Boba Fett. I would rather see images from those 3 shows by June than them release something new. All right, do you have any Hollow news this week?
Yeah.
Are you full screen?
Do I have Hollow news? No.
Okay. Hollow news, da 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 da. Hollow news, do 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 do. And now my mic is turned right off.
All the news you need to know right now. Well, guess what? Remember LucasArts Games? Or whatever it was called? Lucasfilm Games is now the official identity for all gaming titles from Lucasfilm, encompassing the company's rich catalog of video games and its eye towards the future. To mark this new era, Lucasfilm Games has launched social channels on Twitter at Lucasfilm Games and Facebook at Lucasfilm Games, which will deliver breaking news and more to fans directly. I believe there's a fun sizzle reel of just like where LucasArts has been. And yeah, so hooray. They're in charge of all their games now, or I don't know. If you're in Singapore, guess what? Star Wars Identities, the traveling exhibition showing features of models, props, and costumes from Star Wars, is hitting Singapore from January 30th to the 13th of June of 2021 at the, where is it here? Art Science Museum at Marina Bay Sands. There will be, like I said, stuff from the film, from the original trilogy, the prequels, the animated series, Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and the films of the sequel films. And will feature characters like Darth Vader, R2-D2, Chewbacca, Boba Fett, and Yoda. And models of the ships, like the Millennium Falcon, will be on display. So if you're in Singapore, go on down to Marina Bay Sands. Box office. The tickets will be on sale as of January 15th. People like to be in Star Wars. And you know who else wants to be in Star Wars again? Paul Bettany. He was asked if he would ever want to return to a Star Wars film. He said, "Oh, I would love to mess around with Dryden Voss. I love that idea." So Paul Bettany is all in, and we seem to be entering this underworld bounty hunter world with Boba Fett returning and Mandalorian being a huge success. So perhaps, I know that's not really the same era, but like, who knows? Like, somehow we could get this crime boss Dryden Voss back into the film somehow, or shows, or whatever you want to do. He's got a new show, WandaVision, coming out next week. I'm sure he's down with being on another series. And in final news, sadly, John Chu has parted ways with the Willow production of the Willow 2. So they are now in search of a new director. So hopefully they will find one, because I'm excited for that. I really want to watch Willow 2. And this has been your Hollow News.
Yeah, I can't wait for Willow. I hope they find a proper replacement for him. But Bruck, I have news as well.
What's that?
I found the Kylo Ren toothbrush.
God.
I'm going to hit the button. Check this out. This is the button. The Kylo Ren toothbrush.
That weapon is mine.
It's like, so you think
Imagine
it's over.
that in your mouth. Your just cheek is lighting up.
It's just lighting up. But so it's glowing. It's going to come back and talk to us. It's just like, it's so random. It goes. It's going to be time for our top 5.
Top 5.
Today's top 5 are top 5. And he's shirtless too in this, which is great. Top 5 hopes for Star Wars in 2021. What a year 2021 is going to be a phenomenal year. Kylo Ren agrees. I mean, he's dead, but maybe he's alive. We'll find out, I guess. Top 5 hopes for 2020.
Destroy the Resistance and the Last Jedi.
I am the last Jedi. I am the last one. He's like,
This must be from. I think this is from the last. It must be from the Last Jedi. So this is a toothbrush with sound effects. Light flashes for 1 minute. Light up timer toothbrush. Collect all Star Wars lightsaber toothbrushes. Well, now I'm on a mission. Here we go. Number 5. Top 5 hopes for Star Wars in 2021. Number 5 for me is news concerning the Ahsoka Tano show. I want to hear some casting news on the Ahsoka Tano show. Just to know, who are the characters going to be in the show? Like, will there be any other recurring characters, or will it just be Ahsoka, like basically the Mandalorian, but going episode to episode? And will she have a cuter baby with her than Baby Yoda? I want to know who her supporting cast will be. So that's my number 5.
My number 5 is, I'm slowly been reading the first High Republic book. I hope it's a success, because they really made a big deal out of this and then delayed it. So it's just sort of like, better make this good. But there is a lot of talk about, I mean, they're showing the concept art of the characters that you don't see pictures of. So like, I don't know. Maybe it's also a slow news day for Star Wars, so I hope it does well. It seems
Yes.
to be pretty decent. So
Well, the acolyte is dependent on it.
yeah, that's true. I just like the whole announcement of calling it like Project Luminous. It's just like
I think they called it that because
hopefully
they hadn't figured it out yet.
perhaps.
Just, what would be a cool title? Project Luminous. All right. Actually, it's about the High Republic.
Yeah.
Name change.
Yeah.
My number 4 is I want some set photos from Boba Fett. I would like to see this show. Is it all going to be on Tatooine? It'll be, what is it going to be about? How's it going to roll? I have like this shelf of like, I call it the shelf of Raylo, where it's all Ray and Kylo, but then at the bottom there's like 4 or 5 Boba Fett's. I've never really been crazy about Boba Fett, but I have 3 die-cast Elite Series figure Boba Fett's. I have his ship, and I have that Funko Pop Holiday Special Boba Fett. So I think I'm a diehard fan, Brock. I just don't want to brag.
See, the funny thing is, you've set up your podcast set as a blank TV and Nintendo characters.
Well,
and yet off stage is like a complete thing.
The best part is right there. Maybe I'll move one day, but so this is supposed to have our logo in it, but it wasn't working. So anyway,
my number 4 is going to be I don't know how to phrase this. Like, I just want Bad Batch to be like really, really good. Like good, Rebels good somehow, like you give us, I mean, we know who these characters somewhat are because we had the 3-episode arc or 4-episode arc in the last season of Clone Wars. But like, let's like just make a show that's like, wow, that's good. And to the level that people that like aren't huge Star Wars fans are like, oh, I've heard Rebels is amazing, or I heard Bad Batch is amazing. So
I gotta tell you, I have the utmost faith in the Bad Batch because of that last season of the Clone Wars and Mandalorian to an extent. But it's just, it seems the storytelling on these serialized programs is just they figured it out. They know what they're doing, and so I have faith. I have a lot of faith in it. Yeah. But I'm with you. I hope it's good too. I would like my number 3. I would like a full trailer for the Cassian Andor show, which I'm guessing is coming out in the next 6 months. I'm guessing. I have no idea. But if it starts shooting before Boba Fett's coming out in December, I feel like they're going to play it like they did with WandaVision, how WandaVision leads right into the Falcon show. And then that leads into, I think they might be doing something like that. So we might have to wait until October to get Cassian Andor. But I would like to see a full trailer for Cassian Andor this year, because what we saw, I loved. I watched Rogue One the other day again, and I'm just like, I really like Cassian Andor. I like all those characters. I'm glad they died, but I really like those characters. And unlike Black Widow, I'm more excited to watch this show because, unlike Black Widow, this takes place in the Star Wars universe, which I'm biased towards. Thank you.
Well, like after Bad Batch, like what's the next thing? Boba Fett? Like when does Cassian Andor Obi-Wan?
No, that's the thing. I know they haven't said anything, but I'm guessing it's got to be Andor. It's got to be Cassian Andor. It has.
Yeah, because they've already shown that they're shooting.
Yeah, and like I said, if Boba Fett's coming out Christmas this year, so I think it's like either December 20 whatever or Christmas Day. And Christmas Day is a Friday this year? No. Yes. No.
Christmas Eve was Thursday this year, right?
Okay, so it would be like Christmas Eve. Whatever. Who cares? It's December next year. And then Cassian Andor, I would guess, would come out right before, like October, and then lead into it or something like that. That's a guess. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Like, I'm hoping that we'll have Cassian Andor at some point. So that'll be my number 3. Like before the end of the year, before Boba Fett, by November, we'll have some.
Yeah. Was that your number 3? You're sticking with number 3? All right. Should I hit the toothbrush again or no? No. My number 2, a Rogue Squadron writer announced, but also that the script is complete and they've started shooting by the end of the year, or pre-production. I want it to be far enough ahead where it's like, okay, this is real.
Yeah.
I didn't say who the director was. Just
I don't know if this has been announced technically or it's just people wanting it on the internet. It would be cool if we got us my number 2 is a Fallen Order number 2, because it's like I've seen a lot of articles talking about like, oh, we should do this, and like, oh, perhaps we could put Grogu in it so we can kind of explain him a little bit more, what have you. It wouldn't be a bad idea. But yeah, like I think that game was really, really good, and I'm curious where it could go. So yeah,
They are making another game in that. I have a question. Like my thing with Grogu is, I'm curious if they would let Grogu go in that, because Ahsoka is like, Ahsoka has to go through Filoni first, right? I wonder if they would be like, yeah, take Grogu, because the other thing too with backstories is sometimes, and I think Grogu is a perfect example of less is more. We know enough of Grogu. If we start seeing more and more, a lot of Grogu gets diminished. So,
then I feel like if we never tackle the storyline of how Grogu got to where he is in the first episode of Mandalorian in the series, then like the second that series is done, they're like, let's put him in a comic, put it in a book, put it in a video game. People will be all over it.
Yep.
So,
but I still think less is more.
Yeah, absolutely.
But give us more. Fallen Order. My number one, this is a very simple one, a very basic one, but also in my corner is the grandfather of Mr. Kylo Ren. And I want to see Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader the Wise in costume. Is he going to have his helmet off? But he'll die without it. How are we going to say? Are they actually going to, in Rogue One, when they were so close to showing his face, like, cutaway? I remember how that was my one disappointment with Rogue One, I believe, was I was like, they just should have showed his face. How is it going to matter that Hayden Christensen is in there? But I want to see Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, because I think that show comes out next year in 2022. So I would really like to see a picture of him and Ewan McGregor. Just even if it's not like a publicity photo, if it's a behind the scenes of them like laughing, like, haha, we're having so much fun. But you see like his wrinkly old face. That's what I want to see. Number one. That's my number one for 2021.
My number one is we get one of those shows early somehow. I don't know. I think that's my main focus right now. Like, I'm excited for Ahsoka, and I would love to see more Mandalorian. So, and then you can chuck in Boba Fett and New Rangers of the New Republic, because I don't understand why you wouldn't. Those would be like the next things you release. As much as like Acolyte sounds cool, not really sure what Visions is yet and what Lando is, but like those don't need to come out this instant. You know what I mean? I mean, Acolyte depended on how successful the book series is, but so
yeah, I'm with you on that. Episode 197, Brock. 197.
Wow.
We've done a lot. We're coming up on 200 in a few weeks. You want to do something special for number 200? We should fire Andrew.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it. We're going to fire Andrew. Whoever's made it this far is like, I hope they do. It's not going to happen. He finishes book quick. 2 books quicker than we do, so we need him on board to give us reviews.
I don't think he goes to work, though.
Look, Brock,
I don't think he leaves his house.
You make your excuses up, and I will make mine. I am just lazy. I'm actually reading. I've been reading a couple other books. I haven't had time to get. I will get to it eventually. I'm just. I don't know how to explain it. I read so much Star Wars early on in like 2015, 2016. I think even 2017. Like I read like everything they gave me. And it kind of knocked me out, and now I know that everything that they promised then that they didn't deliver on, they're kind of doing that now. But I think I'm like, I will wait. I will read it when it goes on sale.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
that's where I am. I'm paying for Disney Plus. I will watch all that stuff. I'm loving that people are really liking it though. I like it when people like Star Wars. It makes everything a lot more fun.
It's like if the book is exciting, that means something, right? Like I mean, books are good, don't get me wrong. You can't see, but I'm surrounded by books. Like
you read more than you I think do read more than anybody I know. Maybe more than Andrew. Maybe Andrew reads a lot, but
I think Andrew's taking that mantle. I don't read as much as I would like.
You
but
used
it's
to
just
read
like
a lot.
I used to, yeah. So it's like if a Star Wars book can bring people in, like, and it's Star Wars books can do that, like Heir to the Empire, the Dark Jedi, Dark Force, I don't know,
Empire. Yeah.
whatever it was, and then just like so many things. So it's like, but if it's just like comics, is like, yeah, that's exciting because you have a visual. But like if you can get excited by like a thick book like this, and you're like, yeah, sure. Though I am reading it all on my tablet, so it's like,
Yes.
I feel like it's quicker to read.
I read on my Kabo all the time, and
Mhm.
I love that thing. I'm reading like an actual book now, and I'm like, oh, I hate this so much. I hate turning pages. I hate holding. You know what it is actually, to be honest, more than anything else. What, like, honest to goodness, and I said this to Erin when she got me the Bob Iger book last year, because I was like, she's like, how is it? I'm like, the book is fantastic if you can read the Bob Iger one. I'm like, this is fantastic, but I hate reading it. It's the light, like the Kabo, right? It's you just gently turn on the light, just like a Kindle. You gently put it's not too bright. But when you have an actual book, I've got to turn on my stupid lamp, and then this page casts a shadow on that page. And I'm like, I am a spoiled brat now when I read, but I'm just gonna call it like it is.
Yeah, I mean, I just, as much as the Amazon is run by the living Lex Luthor, the way their books work on Kindle, and like now there's like a subscription for that as well. It's like, wow, this is super easy.
Super easy. And look, everybody can hate Amazon all they want, but when you're in the gutter and you need a job, they are waiting and willing to pay you to come in and work for them. So, yeah, sometimes it sucks, but sometimes you need it, and it is what it is. And
sometimes you just have to work for Crazy Jeff. Everything must go.
All right, 197 episodes. Anything else you want to say, Brock?
No. Go read High Republic if you want a new read. I think it's pretty good, and I'm only 50 pages in there.
I'm smoking a pipe. All right, everybody. James, he's not only Brock, but he is, and has always been, Scum.
Rebel Scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.